In this video, I'm gonna break down Invader's video and how and why he's wrong. I'm gonna tackle his views on Eren, I'm gonna tackle his views on determinism, and I mean Invaders is just like any other ending defender. They contradict themselves, they blatantly misread the source material, sometimes even just straight up forgetting the source material, and just basic confusion of what's going on. We're gonna get into all that. So the first big and main point of the video, Invader says is that Eren did the rumbling, not out of necessity, but because he just wanted to do it. And he also says that Eren doing the rumbling because he just wanted to do it is the primary reason why he did the rumbling.
And that desire from Eren brings us to the main topic of this video. Eren could not accept that the world outside of the walls was different from the free world he had imagined. And because of that discrepancy, Eren used the rumbling to destroy the world, not out of necessity, but because it was what he wanted to do. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I feel the need to say this now. I am not saying that the only reason Eren did what he did was because it was what he wanted, but I am arguing that it was his primary motivation.
And obviously, this is a complete misreading of Eren's character, and it's crazy how Invader just completely misses or ignores the most basic of characterization for Eren's motivations to do the rumbling. Eren isn't doing the rumbling because he just wants to do it because for the heck of it. He is doing it out of necessity. He's doing the rumbling to destroy his enemies because his enemies want to kill Eren, which will actively take away Eren's freedom. And not just himself, but they also want to kill his friends and they want to destroy his home. And I find it funny how he plays a clip of Eren saying the iconic, "If we kill our enemies, will we finally be free?"
向こうにいる敵全部殺せば俺たち自由になれるのか
But instead of getting the point of what Eren's saying, Invaders instead and purposefully uses rhetoric such as freedom obtained by the world being wiped clean.
Eren was not asking when the fighting would be over, but rather if the freedom he sought could be obtained if the outside world was wiped clean.
When no, Eren isn't looking for freedom by wiping the world. In actuality, Eren is seeking for his freedom by destroying his enemies because, once again, his enemies want to kill him and his friends and his home, which will take away Eren's freedom. That's the reason Eren is doing the rumbling. That's the freedom he seeks. Eren's freedom is freedom from being persecuted, freedom from being threatened by death. And also, when Invaders talks about how Eren felt not free at learning about the outside world from Armin's book, Invaders conveniently, or again, I don't know, purposefully, quickly glosses over what was causing Eren to feel not free. Yes, he is right. Eren was angry because he learned that the world, or the outside world, was taken from him, that it was inaccessible, and that he felt not free. But why? Why did Eren in that moment, when he realized about the outside world, what caused him to feel not free? Well, Eren literally says in that moment, and it's the Titans, his enemies. Eren said that he felt trapped in a birdcage because of the Titans. The Titans were the obstacle to experience freedom, to go outside. Invaders misses that crucial aspect of what Eren says. You can't just say, oh, Eren learned about the outside world and then he realized he wasn't free. Yes, but you're also missing this crucial aspect that goes along with that. And again, it was that he felt trapped at the Titans. And then later on, he talks about Schoolcast and how it links to the manga and how Eren, even in a free world, would be bored, which will lead him to want to destroy the world.
Isayama has said before that schoolcasts would be relevant to understanding the main story, and I believe that this is what he was talking about. In the schoolcast universe, we see a different version of Eren. He's still the same character, but he lives in a world where he isn't restricted by walls and has never had to fight for freedom. This version of Eren was already free, and by analyzing him in that context, we can get a better understanding of his nature. In this world without freedom to fight for, Eren was profoundly bored. Just like the Eren of the main universe before he discovered his own lack of freedom, this Eren longed for something interesting to happen.
Ever since I had that dream about the zombies, I haven't been able to stand this boring life where nothing happens. Of course humanity isn't in danger of being annihilated. It's impossible. A dream that ridiculous would never... No, wait. If the danger doesn't exist, then I could just cause it myself. A threat to all of humanity.
Let's summarize exactly what the implications of this are. No matter the place, as long as he wasn't free and realized that fact, Eren would always long for freedom. Without the need to long for freedom, he would be immeasurably bored with the world. In his boredom, he would long for a world without freedom, just so that he could fight for it. Eren would go as far as wanting to destroy a free world, just to create one where he had an excuse to fight for freedom. This is one of the most critical aspects of his character that you must understand. This was Eren's nature, no matter the circumstances, and it could not be changed. It had been a part of him since the moment he was born.
This is bad character writing. Eren, even in the free world, would still want to destroy it simply because he's bored? And Invaders calls that well-written, fascinating, and a unique character motivation.
Whether or not you like this part of the story is ultimately subjective, but I believe that this is an incredibly well-written, fascinating, and unique character motivation that deserves to be acknowledged for what it is. This is an incredibly well-written, fascinating, and unique character motivation that deserves to be acknowledged for what it is.
destroying the world because he's bored is a unique character motivation according to Invaders. And that's because Invaders, he suffers from what I like to call Sash syndrome, or Sashism for short. Sash syndrome was first observed on March 24th, 2022. In Cactus, there will always be limits on you, Sash.
There will always be things that limit you, no matter what.
This was observed by Dr. Odin. And basically what Dr. Odin describes the syndrome to be is that basically takes away reading comprehension and just overall thoughts on a person's favorite literary work and throws all of that out the window because it doesn't matter what the author writes, whether it be bad, horrible, or just straight garbage. Carriers of Sash syndrome, no matter what, will always say that's good writing. According to them, the author can do no wrong. Everything the writer writes is perfect. There's no flaws. It's perfect.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
But anyways, these people will completely ignore all of the amazing character writing of Eren, of him wanting to destroy his enemies, to defend his freedom and the freedom of his friends and his home, which are all actively being threatened by the outside world. They want to take all that away, all that amazing character writing and motivation away, throw it out the window, and basically turn him into Michael Myers, who just kills for the heck of it, because he feels like it, he has nothing better to do, because he's bored. That's why. He's bored. And people actually buy that, and see that as good writing. Once again, Invaders call this well-written, fascinating, and a unique character motivation.
Whether or not you like this part of the story is ultimately subjective, but I believe that this is an incredibly well-written, fascinating, and unique character motivation that deserves to be acknowledged for what it is.
Shut the fuck up! Know your fucking place, trash!
I don't know how Invaders and Ending Defenders see that as good writing. I don't know how they bought that, or I don't know how they buy this. I'm looking at point number 4. Eren would go as far as wanting to destroy a free world, just to create one where he could fight for freedom. All that because he's bored. What does Invaders and Ending Defenders, in the bottom of their hearts, do they actually believe that's Eren? Do they really believe that? Because to me, it's almost unfathomable how Invaders can take Eren doing the rumbling out of necessity because the world is actively trying to kill him. But Invaders is like, nah, that's not it. That's not the reason Eren did the rumbling. And also, it's not a very good reason. What is actually happening is that Eren did the rumbling and destroyed the world because he just felt like it. He's Michael Myers. He did it for the heck of it. And even if Eren was free, if he did live in a free world, he still would have done the rumbling. That's just who he is. He was bored. Nothing better to do. And that's why I brought up Sash syndrome, because these people would take that and run with it. They won't question it. They won't even think about it. And I don't know why. I don't know how they don't see this as bad character writing and bad characterization. And it also doesn't surprise me because Invaders and just Ending Defenders in general are the same people who, when they first read this page, which literally retcons the best moment in Attack on Titan, Eren's best moment, and one of the best moments in fiction, they didn't question it. They didn't even think about it. They just accepted it. There wasn't even a, I don't know about that. That's kind of weird. That's a little questionable. Nope, they just bought it. So again, this isn't surprising. And then Invader says that Eren was always a cold-blooded killer.
After his attack on Marley, Eren seemed to have changed into a cold-blooded killer, but that wasn't true. Eren had always been this way.
But no, I mean, obviously Eren did horrible things, right? Like the rumbling and the attack on Liberia, which killed an unfathomable amount of innocents. But at the very least, Eren had a fundamental reason for doing these, which is that his freedom is being actively threatened. So he does all this to prevent his freedom from being taken. But here, Invaders are saying, no, not really. Eren just feel like doing all this because that's just who he is. He's just a psychotic, mass-murdering maniac. He does it because he's bored. He's Michael Myers. Like, do you really think Eren stumbled upon Mikasa's house and he saw Mikasa and her family and the 3 kidnappers having a nice dinner? And they were just, you know, talking about how beautiful the day was and just the beauty in life in general, right? And then Eren was like, you know what? I'm kind of bored right now. I got some time to kill. And then he just brutally kills the 3 kidnappers. No, he obviously killed them because he saw what they did to Mikasa's parents and for what they were doing to Mikasa. And also in self-defense because they were also trying to kill him. And towards the end of the video, Invader says that Eren, even after destroying the world, Eren would still be bored and looking for freedom.
Up to his very last moments, Eren was never free. Even if he had accomplished his goal and destroyed the entire world, I think he still wouldn't really have attained the freedom he sought after. At first, he would be at peace, but then what? Once he destroyed the world, what would come after? Just as Eren was bored with the world before finding out about his own lack of freedom, and as he was bored living in the free world of school casts, I think that Eren would have not been able to stand the empty, meaningless world outside of the walls before too long. He would be searching for some nebulous feeling until the day he died, never satisfied, always aimlessly pursuing something he could never attain.
And it's crazy because before he was talking about a hypothetical, right? If Eren was born in a free world, then he would destroy it, which in itself is already crazy. But now at the end of the video, he's saying, if Eren did destroy the world, then he would still be looking for freedom. He would still be bored. He wouldn't feel free. And it's like, how can anyone buy that? Ending Defenders, why do you let your favorite character get massacred like this? Yeah, even if Eren did the rumbling to look for his freedom, which was destroying the world just for the heck of it, afterwards, Eren would still be looking for his freedom. He would still be bored. Sure, it wouldn't be immediately, but after a while, everyone would be bored and looking for freedom. Come on, really? Invaders, do you really think that's well written? Do you actually think that's fascinating? Do you really think that's a unique character motivation? Do you really believe that? But it also doesn't make sense because if Eren, like Invader says, really wanted to do the rumbling, if he actually wanted to do the rumbling, then why does Eren, for 4 years, actively try to look for a different plan or a different solution other than the rumbling? It doesn't make sense. If Invaders is telling us that Eren in his very nature wanted to do the rumbling, then why does that same Eren try to look for different solutions to the rumbling? Why does Eren try to engage in peace talks with Marley? Why does why does Eren, Michael Myers Jaeger, want to engage in peace talks with Marley and the outside world? Can Invaders or an ending defender, can they please answer that? That's what I want to know. Why does Michael Myers himself? Why does Eren Jaeger himself? Why does Eren, who in his very nature wanted to destroy the world, but actively tries to look for different solutions instead of doing that, like engaging with the Uzumabito, and even when those plans fell through, Eren looked disappointed. And then after that, he literally wanted to engage in peace talks with Marley in the outside world. He went to Marley, along with the scouts, to engage in those peace talks. But somehow I'm supposed to believe that Eren didn't do it out of necessity. He did it because he wanted to. That's just who he is.